Welcome to Animania Chronicles, where we dive deep into the captivating worlds of anime, dissecting stories, unraveling characters, and sharing our passion for all things animated. Welcome to the first part of our deep dive into Dororo, the hauntingly beautiful anime that has captivated fans with its rich storytelling and compelling characters. In this video, we'll explore the origins of Dororo, tracing its roots back to the legendary Osamu Tezuka, often referred to as the god of manga. Sit back, relax, and join us as we embark on this journey through the world of Dororo. 2 million years after humanity's extinction, a mother gave birth to a child before being struck by lightning. The baby lost all of his bodily parts except for his skull because, on the day he was born, his father found God in a temple. But as God tried to run away, he killed him with his sword and tried to make a deal with the 12 heavenly demons, swearing to sacrifice his firstborn to become the strongest leader in the world. So after he told the midwife to kill his son and hide all the evidence, she made it to a river where she was about to drown the child. But when she saw a boat in the distance, she decided to cast him down the river instead. As soon as she pushed him away, a legendary demon appeared to devour him. However, a blind elder sensed the presence of the demon and used his blade to slash it down with a single strike before realizing there was a baby in the boat with God's ancient power radiating from his insides. On the other side of the world, a man dragged a victim to crucify him along with all the other enemy soldiers they had defeated. But when he saw his wife accidentally killed by his own knights, the man couldn't bear it anymore and decided to end himself by hugging the ground. However, the man somehow survived and became colorblind. When he approached a mysterious boat, he saw the body of the dismembered baby that was still alive. Over the years, the man began raising the child and even created fake limbs and skin for him. But he realized that the child couldn't feel any pain and lacked all emotions, so he named him Hyakkimaru, after the Japanese word for 100 demons, and spent his entire life training him to become the coldest super soldier in the world. After killing thousands of demons and being covered in their blood, Hyakkimaru's godly power activated, regenerating the leg he'd been missing. By the time he turned 16, the old man wished he had taught Hyakkimaru how to do anything except killing. However, Hyakkimaru tried feeling his face for the first time and hugged the man who had raised him as if he were his father before leaving him forever. For the next 3 billion years, Hyakkimaru traveled the world without ever eating until one day he saw a child called Dororo being beaten for stealing money from 3 oppressive men. Before the men left, Dororo launched a stone at their leader's eye, so the man began drowning Dororo and ordered his men to bring a sword to kill him. As they walked away, they saw Hyakkimaru in the distance, but he was looking past them at the demon he noticed in the river. Just then, the demon launched and devoured the man with a single strike, so the other lackey began running away, but the demon swallowed them up as well. As it was about to eat Dororo, Hyakkimaru slashed his arm off and threw Dororo away before running to evade its attacks and destroy the bridge. The beast continued attempting to swallow him, but Hyakkimaru kept slashing the foundations of the bridge, causing it to collapse as the monster was chasing him, killing the demon underneath all the rubble. In that moment, Hyakkimaru's mask fell off and he regained his skin as lightning blasted in the distance, destroying one of the 12 demons. At the same time, Daiko's second son showed his mother the dough he had caught, but she couldn't stop missing her first son and stared at the statue of the goddess who had sacrificed herself that day. Eventually, the two of them began traveling to a neighboring village, but along the way, Dororo realized that although Hyakkimaru was blind, he could see the outline of their souls and could find the demons by the red colors their souls emitted. Eventually, they made it to the village, but as they were about to sleep in the horse stables that night, a mysterious demon came to ring the bells of hell and left without saying a word. The following morning, the chief took them to meet Lady Bandai, the priestess of the village. When they got there, the priestess apologized for her appearance, saying that she hadn't been able to use her legs after Tyrone injured her. Although Dororo thought she was beautiful, Hyakkimaru felt the presence of a demon and began trying to attack her. However, Dororo held him off while the other villagers came to take him away, throwing both of them in prison. As Dororo wondered why he was trying to kill the woman, the blind elder revealed his presence and said they had locked him away for the same reason. After all, he recognized Hyakkimaru as the baby that was cast away and revealed that he also had the ability to see the souls of demons. Just then, both of them sensed the presence of another demon, and Hyakkimaru ran to slash its arm off before jumping inside a well. Together with the elder, they began heading down the secret tunnels until they arrived at the priestess's room. Hyakkimaru knocked her door down before she began revealing her true form. Immediately, Hyakkimaru attempted to launch towards her, but she knocked him away with her tail and released all of her arms towards him. After closing the distance, he penetrated her eyes with his swords, but the village chief restrained him in the last instant and told the demon to run away. As soon as he slashed the cloak down, Hyakkimaru began chasing the demon throughout the forest, but Bai was able to trap him with bamboo sticks. Before she could kill him, the demon rang the bells of hell again, but Hyakkimaru disappeared. When she looked back, he launched down from the sky and slashed her head, eliminating her in an instant. As Bai revealed her true form once again, she realized that one of the 12 demons failed in sacrificing him. But before she could keep talking, Hyakkimaru pierced her face, killing her for the final time. The demon continued ringing the bells of hell before disintegrating, and when Dororo searched the ground, he saw thousands of gold coins that were buried. This was the money that Bai had been stealing from the adventurers she killed, and the chief revealed that this was the only way their village could continue surviving. So he sold his life to the demons in exchange for the gold. At the same time, 2 of the 12 demons were killed, restoring Hyakkimaru's nervous system and allowing him to hear once again. That night in the forest, the noises from all the animals overwhelmed him, but Dororo wondered how he could hear anything when everywhere was completely silent. So he wrapped a cloth around Hyakkimaru's ears to muffle the noise and suggested that they hunt no demons until he was recovered. Just then, Hyakkimaru noticed a monster in the forest, and a great bird flew between them. Immediately, he drew his sword, and as the monster returned, he narrowly evaded it. However, it flew towards them again, nearly snatching him up, and the noises from falling leaves distracted him, allowing the bird to knock him into the ground. As it returned, Hyakkimaru managed to slash it, but the bird tried to carry him away, and he utilized the opportunity to wound it. But as it returned to end him, the elder appeared at that moment and cut it to pieces in an instant. Just then, Dororo noticed that Hyakkimaru was spaced out and tried returning him to his senses, but he was emotionally drained. The following morning, as Hyakkimaru woke up, he began hearing a singing voice and followed it to the river. As he arrived, he realized that the singer was a girl, and the purity in her soul drew him closer to her. As he tried to touch her, she discovered he was blind, but he nearly passed out in her arms. She noticed Dororo and the elder, thinking they were probably his companions. As they settled in an old abandoned temple, they realized that Hyakkimaru was very sick from his injuries, and the elder said he was probably starting to become a real human. When Mayo arrived, she told him to stay until Hyakkimaru recovered and revealed half a dozen orphan kids she was caring for. Just then, the kids appeared before them, and Mayo said they were survivors of the war. As Dororo decided to take charge, he commanded the others to leave and told Mio to get some sleep before her night shift. Later that day, as Dororo decided to meet the elder, he offered to help him with his duty, but the boy turned him down, saying that he wished to work as hard as his sister Mio. When Dororo noticed that the elder was starting to leave, he told him that he was going to find a safe path through the forest and would return afterward. In Dago's village, a messenger told him that the Saki clan was waiting at their border and that they were starting to run out of food as it had not rained in weeks. Just then, Mina appeared, saying that the past was starting to repeat itself. At the temple, Mio decided to check on Hyakkimaru and discovered that he was burning up from a fever. Realizing he needed medication, she promised to bring him some healing potions while returning from her night duty. Just as she began to sing, he wished she wouldn't leave but would stay by his side forever. Inside the forest, the elder discovered a path through the creek and thought it would make a better home for Mayo and the orphans. However, he soon noticed the presence of a demon deep inside a hole and thought that this place wasn't safe after all. The following day, when Mayo returned to the village, she realized that Hyakkimaru was waiting outside and decided to give him the medication she had brought. However, he tried telling her to sing instead, and Dororo said her voice would probably awaken his mind. As she began singing, the elder arrived, and as they settled inside, he told them about the area he found in the forest and said that it would be a good place to hide when the war begins. However, he revealed that a great demon was already living on the land and that it would only be safe when it was gone. Hearing his words, Hyakkimaru began heading toward the forest and ignored Dororo when he tried to stop him. As the elder realized he was far from recovery, he decided to follow him for support. With the men gone, Mayo revealed that she would be working for both villages that were preparing for war, saying that it was the fastest way to earn more money. However, the boys thought it was too dangerous, so Dororo promised to follow her and protect her if she fell into danger. That evening, as he trailed her into the forest, he realized that her work involved developing plans with the soldiers and was depressed by what he saw and the hardships she endured every day. At the same time, Hyakkimaru and the elder arrived at the large hole. As they spotted the demon, Hyakkimaru drew his swords, but the elder realized he was still sick from his injuries. The elder tried suggesting that he wait until he recovered, but the monster began drilling the ground and the sand pulled them deep into the hole. After jumping off the rocks, Hyakkimaru flew with the monster, and the elder slashed it from behind, forcing it to turn its attention. As soon as it was distracted, Hyakkimaru stabbed its head, but the demon caught him and began pulling him deep into the ground. Luckily, the elder managed to save him, but Hyakkimaru began screaming in terrible pain as half of his leg was lost to the demon. That night, as Dororo returned to the temple, he came across the elder and Hyakkimaru. When he noticed Hyakkimaru's severed leg, he fell from the shock, and the elder revealed that it had been eaten by the demon. However, when he realized that Hyakkimaru was actually groaning from the pain, the elder told him that he had now also gained the ability to speak. In the morning, when Mayo arrived, she found Hyakkimaru injured and wondered what had happened. The elder told her that he would survive his injury. As she began to clean his wound, Dororo noticed her scars and ran off at the memory of what he had seen. A few minutes later, T found him and wondered why he had left. But Dororo thought it was better to keep what he saw a secret. When asked if he had ever seen Mayo at work, T began telling him that his duty was to watch over the remaining orphans and that they were only able to stay alive because of Mio's sacrifice. At Daiko's village, Tohomaru began demanding to be sent off to the battlefield, but his advisor said he was still just a kid and told him to have his mother teach him how to wield a sword. As Mina appeared, Tohomaru begged her for guidance, but she thought he was a spoiled little brat and ignored everything he said. However, Tohomaru realized she had only been pretending to care about him ever since he was born and wondered whose well-being she was really worried about. He thought she was definitely hiding a secret and hoped to eventually discover it. At the temple, the memory of the incident continued flashing across Hyakkimaru's mind, and as he tried heading to the forest, he fell from his injury. But Mayo hurried to give him her support to help him relax. She tried asking him to speak, but discovered that he could not say a word, so she began to sing for him. As the elder observed them, he realized that Mayo's singing voice was calming the demon that was starting to appear inside Hyakkimaru's soul. As he began to leave, he told Dororo that he would stay around the forest in the meantime and revealed that Hyakkimaru's demon flames might one day turn him into a monster. That evening, as Mio began heading to work, she told Dororo that she noticed him the previous night and said that this was their only means of survival. So he decided to forgive her and said that she was actually brave, and he would never hate her for sacrificing herself for all the other kids. Immediately, he ran up to the temple, happy to have finally made peace with her. At the temple, Hyakkimaru began sharpening wood to replace his leg, but Dororo decided to feed him his meal, saying that it was the only way he would regain his strength. However, he hoped Hyakkimaru would never become a monster and told him that he was his only friend in the world. By the morning, Hyakkimaru had fixed the wood and was practicing with his sword. As the orphans admired his sword arms, they decided to show him several hidden swords, and Tio revealed that they had found them on the battlefield. At the same time, Mio began heading to work, but a soldier from the Ishikawa clan spotted her and thought she was probably a spy. On that night, with all the other kids asleep, Dororo realized that Hyakkimaru had left the temple and thought he must have gone to face off with the demon at the hole. Hyakkimaru drew his swords and was ready for battle. As he slid into the hole, he began dodging the demon's claws, and it started raining. At the same time, as the beast bit off his leg again, he stabbed it right in the mouth and jumped very high before slaying it in an instant. At that moment, the rain stopped, and Daiko's statue split in half. When Mayo arrived at the temple, Tio told her that Hyakkimaru had gone off to fight the monster, so she hurried immediately. Just then, a group of Ishikawa soldiers arrived and followed her to the temple. As Hyakkimaru and Dororo began returning home, the boy was happy to see his leg restored, but after hearing those words, Hyakkimaru realized that the temple was burning. That's it for today. Stay tuned for part 2 of our Dororo review series. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the vast realms of anime. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for more thrilling reviews and discussions. Until next time, keep exploring the boundless wonders of anime with us.